All right, family. We black again with the general. You already know what it is, man. We keep fire over here, the sacred sciences of our people all over the planet, dropping down that fire. We're gonna be talking about was this mound was the southern United States mound culture a part of the Olmec Empire? We got to talk about that. And it makes sense. It makes sense. We know where where the more prolific evidence is the citadel of the empire, because we see the evidence that's still there. We don't have to second guess that. We see the megalithic heads of our people, and there's no doubt it's Nile Valley culture, and we can black that up, no doubt about it. And so, we the general is saying that, and I've been saying it. I've been saying that over, and you can go back and watch the first one. And I was talking about it. You talking about I did the voyage. Well, let me see. When did I do the first voyages, OLMEC voyages of the Nile? 2007. 2007. So you. That's how long you talking about? Damn near almost 20 years. 20 years. The first OLMEC Voyages of the Nile was at Truth Bookstore, you see, for Black History Month, 2007. And I've been doing it since then. And Nick Rose, that just popped up 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They want to come in and they think they can bang with the general, but they can't do it. They can't do it. We're going to show you today, fam, before we get started, because we're going to be working our way over to Patreon. Man, I got some fire. Matter of fact, do I got them? I don't have the, maybe I do. Maybe I do got it. Let me see here. Maybe I do have it here, family. What we got popping off over there? Do I got one I could show? Yeah, we might have one or two. Let me see if I got it in here. Yeah, let me see if I got it over here. If not, I should have had it in there before I started. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see. I should have had it in there before I started. But anyway, family, it's gonna be off the file. I'm gonna be off the chain. So make sure you get over there. I should have had the flies in there. So matter of fact, let's jump right on into it, family. Let's jump right on into it. So when you look here, and come around the whole arch, the whole arch or the crescent. And it is a crescent. And people say, well, it's the Fertile Crescent. And it can be the Fertile Crescent. It can be the Fertile Crescent of the West. It very well can be, because right along that area is, tropical, especially when you get over there in Mexico and drop down. Down in the Vera Cruz, you most definitely down in tropical regions. Florida down at the tip, I don't believe you in tropical. You're still in subtropical. You're about a degree up from the tropical. So that means it's damn near tropical. You see what I'm saying? So you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's how close it is. But if you get down there in Veracruz and dip down there, and you most definitely down below the tropics. You see, so all of that is a very lush area, a lot of rain, a lot of vegetation, and so in my understanding is that the Olmec, at the height of its empire, ruled the whole of that what we call today the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, whatever. I call it the Gulf of Olmeca. The Gulf of Olmeca. Those were the first people that we can show beyond any reasonable doubt with advanced civilization had touched down. It was under control of institution and nationhood. You see what I'm saying? And so we know that as we look here, we know that the Olmecs had ports in the Gulf of Mexico, also in the Pacific Ocean. They have ports on both sides of Mexico, in the Gulf of Mexico and in the Pacific. And so a lot of what was going on down in South America was in connection with the Olmec. They trying to promote Peru over Olmec land now because they done lost Olmec land. They didn't now they want to kind of promote Peru because Peru got a halfway of a pyramid down there that, a couple of pyramids and this, that, and the third. But that structures down there is also connected to the Kushite Egyptian Empire, and we could show that and prove it beyond any reasonable doubt. You got Neanderthals and that have bowed down to the facts, that is, because you're dealing with a megalithic level that cannot be duplicated by no other civilization in the world. I'm sick of you niggas lying. You're lying. It takes, the level of architectural knowledge it would take to move stones that large would take hundreds of thousands of years, tens of thousands of years at the minimum. So it didn't just start there. When you start seeing megalithic stones on that level, people have been advancing that technology for tens to hundreds of thousands of years. You're not going to do that in a year. You're not going to do that in 1,000 years. You're not going to do it in 10,000 years. Maybe, you might be able to move a 5 ton, but when you start dealing with 100-ton stones, you start dealing with 100-ton stones, you dealing with a technology that has been advanced for tens of to hundreds of thousands of years. And the way they cut the stone is in actuality the same exact way that they cut them everywhere. In certain signature marks that are left on these stones clearly show you where the evidence of the technology and where it came from. You see, let me get this one out of here. Matter of fact, wait a minute. Let's see why it ain't up here on my main screen. I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. Hold on, family. It's supposed to be on the big screen. What the hell going on? Let me get this. I gotta make sure everything is Gucci. All right, let me get when we talk about, let me see if I got the let me get it here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I need to put this in here. Yeah, so when you look here, you see this is all the areas where the Olmec had their hands. You see, they try to make it seem like they was just in the Gulf. No, everywhere you see in areas where Guatemala, Honduras, you see all the way down into, yes, on both sides, on the Gulf of Mexico, which is the Gulf of Olmeca, and also on the Pacific Ocean. So a lot of what heading towards Easter Island down in South America. Yeah, we're gonna black it up. I'm gonna just touch on it. You feel me? I'm not gonna do. We're gonna stick to the mound aspect of it because the Olmec also use mounds. Okay, they also use. Matter of fact, here we go right here. Let's go and put this up here. Now, this is the mound of La Venta. Now, I was in La Venta, but at the time I was there, you couldn't go over to the mound. You see, so you see right there, but even though the Olmecs had mounds, they also had stone around the mound. You see, so it did have stone around the mound. Now, a lot of people just saying that many of the I'm not gonna say all, but some of the mounds in the Americas had some stone around them too. You see what I'm saying? Very well may have some stone around them too. But see, I have science, and I'm looking at it, and I can tell that that's an Egyptian layout. Once you understand the architecture of the temples and the pyramid sites, not just the pyramid, but the pyramid complex. You see the pyramid complex, and a lot of these pyramid complexes, right in front of the pyramid, right in front of the temple, they would have a open courtyard, and you had that too with the Egyptian pyramid and the Egyptian temple. Is carved into the structure, and matter of fact, I believe this is also where is this T.O.? Well, this is Teotihuacan right here. This is Teotihuacan, where you get the three. You got the pyramid of the sun, you got the pyramid of the moon, and then you got the smaller pyramid down at the bottom, which is the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. I've been to this site also. You see, and seen it for myself, and it's laid out just like Giza. And what's crazy is that the pyramid of the sun and the pyramid of Giza, the foundation of both of those pyramids are almost exactly the same. Some people say it's exactly the same. You see, the foundation of that pyramid, the pyramid of the sun, and the pyramid of Giza are almost identical. Period. I believe it was like I'm gonna get the numbers on that, but I looked it up and I heard it first from Ivan Van Sertima, and I went behind them, and they did say it, and some said it was off a little bit, but even being it wasn't off by much. So the irony of that pyramid, being almost exactly the exact same measurements of the pyramid of Giza, and then you got the three pyramids there, and they all in a line almost to the T, and then you got the ceremonial street, or what they call the in Egypt they call it the ceremony. It's like a walkway that leads down to the Nile River, and it'll lead to like the funerary temple down at the Nile River when the Pharaoh sailed up, and and they said this was filled up with water too. They said this was filled up with water. So, there's many of the same aspects that, that's why they call it in the church, they call it the nave. When you come into a church or a basilica or a cathedral, when you come in and you got that long walkway that you come in the door and then you walk all the way, that's called the nave. And why do they call it the nave? Is to navigate. You see, to navigate. And so, so there's some, water origins to the mythologies of the pyramids on both sides of the planet. You see, but this is the Olmec, and a lot of people don't know. They try to make it and pretend like they don't know who built these pyramids. They say, oh, when the Olmecs built these pyramids. You see, the Olmecs built these pyramids. They sitting up there lying and shit, and we got proof and power. And I didn't see other scholars that wasn't even African. They had to give it up because it was right and goddamn exact. They had to give it up. Matter of fact, I could show you the head that was in front. Let me see if I can show you that. Let me see if I can show you all that. Cause this not my main lecture right here. So this is like some of my stuff I need to work on right here. Let me see if I got that head. Now, if you just compare, you can see right there. Now, this is no knock, this is Teotihuacan. See, they wasn't laying no stone like the over in Egypt. You see what I'm saying? You can't put no no level on that. You can't, you know what I'm saying? But it's still a wonder of the world. That don't take nothing from that. You see what I'm saying? That don't take nothing. It is still a wonder of the world. We give all praise because we know that's our family that put it there. And when you look at, now this is it right here. I found it. I found it right here. See, I'm giving y'all some gems this tonight. Now, this is not Teotihuacan, but this is a sister pyramid that they call Chakula, and it's supposed to be the largest pyramid in the world. Now, this is what this, you can fall for that if you want to. The base of it, now that's what I was meaning. The base of the pyramid of the sun at Teotihuacan and the base of the pyramid at Giza is almost exactly the same. Now, this is Chakula, and it's supposedly the largest based on the base. But okay, it is a mound, meaning that they didn't lay stone on stone. They had a mound under it, and they put some mortar with some jagged stones to dress it up, make it look good, and it look beautiful. We're not gonna negate that. But it ain't these megalithic stones that you see in Egypt. Okay, there's no mound under the ones in Egypt neither. It's self-standing. The stones are standing upon themselves. There's no help. There's no structure up under it to help it stay up. No, it's not, you understand? So we had to be clear about that. Now at Chakula, it used the same technology as you see here at Teotihuacan, and what you see there is that is an Olmec head. Okay, now it is not as advanced as the ones that you see in Levanta or in other areas. I think it was like, what was it, 13 heads? It's not as advanced, but you see the lips on there, right? You see and it looked like tire tracks, and it's not to be mean. It's what it is. That's how they use this artistry to show that they had thick lips. You see, so they would make them like tire tracks around the mouth. You see, but now when you compare that to the statues at that's San Lorenzo, you can see that, which is the first capital of the Olmecs. You see, it's right in exact. It's the same type of structure. It's less artistic, but it's Olmec. So that proved that the Olmecs built all the great megalithic structures of ancient, what they call Mexico. But they did start I'm not going, but they most definitely advanced. They most definitely advanced the mound structures beyond. Matter of fact, I don't know if it's a mound under this one. I don't know if it's a mound under this one. You know what I'm saying? It's some rubble. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's some rubble. It's some rubble under Teotihuacan. It is some rubble. You know what I'm saying? But they took it to a whole nother level than over there at Levanta. They took it to a whole nother level. They most definitely advanced. But this is the construction of the Olmec. And see this mound. This is Levanta. This is Levanta. You see the mound, but when you look at this structure and you look at the complex, this is Nile Valley. It's built no different than. Let me show you. Now let me show you, and I want y'all to pay attention to the general. Now, you see there at Saqqara. You see Saqqara, and you see the pyramid. You see the ceremonial courtyard in front of that pyramid. And you go to Levanta, right? You go to Levanta to the left, and you see that pyramid, and you see that same courtyard in front of the pyramid. You see, this is not no goddamn guessing game. You see, this is not no guessing. You see that, and you see the ceremonial courtyard in front of the mound. You go to, and they're in front of all the pyramids. Damn there. You know what I'm saying? And you can go to most of the mounds, you know what I'm saying, areas around the United States. They got that central mound, and they got that courtyard right in front of it. Yes, they do. This the same blueprint. You see, it is the same blueprint, and ain't nobody gonna say it's not, because it is. Okay, I can get right up on some of them. I got some that's so right and exact. And this is another one. This will show you right here. This is the one that and it's a courtyard in front of that one. It's a courtyard in front of Teotihuacan. Matter of fact, now look at this one. Look at this one. Now, this is one of the, I forget the name of this. Now, you see that? This is one of the Olmec. You see the courtyard right there in front of that pyramid? You see the courtyard, right? And then you can come right back to Saqqara, and you see that. Man, come on, man. You playing with a master. You playing with a master. I've been doing this longer than any one nigga except Ivan Van Sertima that I know of. You see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna just be real. You know, let's talk about it. We talking about 20 years on it. I'm showing shit that he didn't show, but he showed a lot that I didn't. You know, that I had to learn. He is the master, no, the grand master. I bow down. But shit, I did a lot of stuff that people ain't, you know, they didn't show this. I took it to the temples. I took it to the complexes. I went down in there and showed, you know, a lot of structures and how they had taken from the Nile Valley. But you can see right there, man. Matter of fact, I could take that one. Matter of fact, I can do this right here on while we here. You know, let me come down. Where that one go? Yeah, this is another Olmec. This is another Olmec. It's one of these. But they was getting something from up here. It's not one of their most famous, but when you take that one, let me see if I can put it in here. Okay. Let me see. That one's so big. Let me see if I can bring it down. See if I can bring it down a little bit. And put it next to Saqqara. You know, y'all got me working real time. Not many people can do this in real time. You feel me? Let me see if I can get this in here for y'all. See, I study the temples. I'm a brother. You know, that's the first thing, Dr. Ben, you know, you got to study the temples, not just the temple, the geometry and the mathematics of it, the coordinates of this shit. Okay, let me bring it all the way around. Let me see. Well, that's good enough. That's good enough. Yeah, that's good enough right there. That's good enough right there. So you see the pyramid and you see the courtyard. That's right in front of the pyramid. Man, that's right in his act. That's not no second guessing. You see what I'm saying? That's no second guessing. That's exactly what it is. That's Nile Valley technology in America. Not just the pyramid, not just but the pyramidal complex. The whole complex is aligned to structures and complexes in the Nile Valley. You see, in the Nile Valley. And so I didn't went all off into just to show you. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be on the mound, but it ain't much I can do with a mound. You know what I'm saying? I showed you that. And I showed you this one. Let me show y'all, and then I'm gonna check out. Y'all had to catch up with me on Patreon because I'm gonna show a whole lot more on Patreon today. Matter of fact, where's that one at? I just showed the Levanta Mound. And then I'm gonna show you this one in Teotihuacan. And the one in I think it was called Cahokia. Now you see, I was showing this one back in 2007. When you look at this one at Cahokia, and then you come and look at the one, matter of fact, is that the same one? I got to have that same image, but it's very similar to this, but it's just a mound. You see, when you look at this one, matter of fact, and you come over and you look at this one, you know, one is a mound and the other one is like they constructed it in stone. You see, this is the mound. This is the one in Cahokia is up there near St. Louis, I believe. It was the largest city in the Americas for a long time. You know, it was the largest city, but it looked very similar, and you can see the step right there to Teotihuacan. And you look here, uh, yeah. So I mean, this is not by coincidence, but they used the technology that they could use. You see, they used the technology that they could use, and we give credit to our family that build mounds. And people say, "Well, the mounds in the Americas is older than the pyramid." Motherfucker, the pyramids is over 100,000 years worth of architectural development. You can't goddamn go at because they built, and that's a lie. The dates that they given is to correlate Egypt with Samaria. I looked at all these dates, man, and I do my date thing. And it's like, man, if you watch these Neanderthals, they got damn near the whole world around 2 or 3 dates. You understand what I'm saying? They trying to correlate the whole world around 2 or 3 dates. If you go to the origin, they're gonna be right around that 3,000 date. They're gonna be right around that 2,600 date. You know what I'm saying? Even, but Sumeria, Indus Valley, now I see this one place down in Peru. They saying it's a right around 2,600 BC. They trying to make it, because that's right around Saqqara. So they trying to say, oh, it could be older than Saqqara. They keep coming up with these fraudulent dates, even though you can look at the technology in Africa and know you can't start with the date that's the end date. What about the hundreds of thousands of fucking years it took to develop the knowledge? It don't take no hundreds of thousands of years to put mud in a damn pail and dump it. You just got to keep doing it every year for maybe 100 years because they kept doing it. But each a generation they had a mound. It might not have been that big, but for 200 years they just kept piling dirt on it, and yeah, they make sure they it was done with artistry and it made sure it looked, but you know how it was done. So don't try to compare no damn mound, because they got mounds in Africa older than the mounds over here. I just looked at, they had a burial in Africa 75,000 years ago. And it was a intended burial, not that they found somebody in the ground, because the child was laid on his side with a pillow under his head, like a prop under the head of the child. So it was purposely put in the grave 75,000 years ago. Nigga, move around. Please, move around. The facts is overwhelming. So I appreciate y'all, family. We're gonna work out on Patreon, because I'm opening up on the OLMECS, and we're gonna deal with this ice age, and I'm gonna go in a little deeper. So make sure you tap in today. The general warming up, y'all. We pulling out the visuals. Ain't nothing changed. You see what I'm saying? Ain't shit changed. When you ready to see the master at work, raise your hand. You feel me? All right, family. I see y'all in a minute. Get on over there to Patreon and Black Power.